Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you. Miami Heat victorious tonight over the San Antonio Spurs, 116-114. A dominant fourth quarter led by Jim VP. Jim VP. Jim VP. Woo! Woo! A triple-double tonight from Jimmy Butler to shut the door on the San Antonio Spurs, who were frisky today. The San Antonio Spurs, they walked in fresh as a daisy. Miami Heat's second night of a home back-to-back. And the Spurs walked into this one fresh as a daisy today. But Jimmy Butler, he really put the nail in the coffin in that fourth quarter. Really led by just, tenacious defense, was putting his impact everywhere in this game. But you have to give a shout-out because Jimmy Butler, at a certain point in this fourth quarter, he had just beautiful buckets. He had the 6-spin move. Then they let off him. They leave him wide open for a three-point shot. Not a smart decision. As John Crotty said, must have not read the scouting report. I don't know if you heard, this man's a shooter, and he's been nailing it lately. But Duncan Robinson gets a rebound, goes outlet pass to Jimmy Butler, and he gets his bucket, wants his foul call. He is pissed. And this had happened throughout the game tonight where he was getting hacked. They were letting the young guys get away with some stuff against the Miami Heat. And he starts chirping at the officials immediately. They call timeout, and he starts pointing at all three of them, trying to figure out, F you, you're trash, bum. I mean, he was firing the bum guns at the officials all over. Got a technical foul. If they probably weren't afraid of him kicking their ass, then maybe it would have given him two. It was hilarious, but justified. I think that's probably why they just realized, this is Jimmy Butler, rightfully pissed. So he gets teed up. They come out of the timeout. His first play is a back tap steal. They get out on the run. Jimmy then throws this just beautiful, perfect lob to Bam Adebayo. It's keeping the double-digit round. Then Jimmy and Jaime start getting going to one another. But we're looking for this elusive triple-double. There were a couple bunnies that he was trying to find to get himself that final assist. And finally, he finds Caleb Martin in the corner, bang, for a three. And he has his 12th career Heat triple-double, which he has just been he's in full activation mode when I don't know if you guys got the memo or not, because the bums won't talk about it, but Jimmy Butler, he has arrived officially for this season and he's ready to roll. And this was a game that Spurs were kind of sticking around. He said no more of that. And this is a couple nights in a row where we've seen Jimmy Butler just pick something that got the furnace going there at the end of the game. And it was interesting because Jimmy played a good amount in this game. I want to say that Jimmy played, he played, when it was in reason, he played, I think, basically the whole fourth quarter. I got to bring up the game book here real quick and see what that was. But it felt like Jimmy, that was an interesting thing. And now it felt like Jimmy was trying, he's like, there's no way we're losing this game. 3 days off until the next game against Boston. I'm imagining Spurs probably going to give the team 2 days off and maybe practice on Saturday before Boston. And so it was maybe one of those things where he's like, hey, what's the situation here? Give me all you got. And yeah, Jimmy played in the second half box score. Jimmy played in the fourth quarter. He played 9 minutes in the fourth quarter. For a fourth quarter, that was kind of a blowout for the last 2 minutes. So that was an interesting one. That was an interesting one for sure. And he played nearly all of the third quarter too. So Jimmy was out there for a lot of the second half, and really willed the thing home. And he had kind of a quiet scoring in the third quarter, and he only, I think, had 5 shots up to that point. But he really turned things on. Oh no, he was 2 of 7 going into that fourth quarter, and just completely went in nuclear mode with everything. So that was really cool to see. Before that, to be honest with you, this was a game that was carried by the Kentucky connection. Bam Adebayo got off to a really, really hot start in this game. Best we've seen his jump shot look in a very long time. He had his touch from everywhere. And, this was a good sign because, yes, you're going up against Victor Wembanyama, who is tall as hell, and you have to get around that lanky pterodactyl plus-size wingspan. And then on top of it, you gotta deal with it defensively. You gotta deal with the challenge of taking on this young kid who is gonna be all over the court. Sometimes trailing for dunks, sometimes pulling up for three. So it was an interesting challenge, and Bam really took it to it early, where he was really getting aggressive touches. He was taking it right to the rim, and then was diversifying it all. But I liked the first thing Bam really tried to do on this was head down, get right to the bucket, and that kind of spread out towards everything. It was a great thing to see from Bam, who finished tonight 20 points, 10 of 14 from the field, so a really nice scoring game from Adebayo today. And then Tyler Hero, my goodness. Tyler Hero, I don't know, man. There was something about the way he's playing today, and he mentioned this last night, where I was asking him about the idea of the combination with Terry Rozier, and he talked about playing fast, how he wanted to play fast. And I'm going to tell you, there's definitely been a notice with Terry that the Heat are playing faster and that there's just a lot more energy towards the ball. Caleb Martin's been a big reason for this. But I feel like Tyler Hero, he just looks, they talked about this in the offseason, about his decisiveness, doing things faster, doing things more efficiently. And I felt like today, this was a guy who was just very confident in handling his dribble, that, he was getting to the spots that he wanted to, but he was hitting the big-time threes. He had a big three over Wemby that put the Heat up 4. I mean, just you have to put up that high to get that over Wembanyama. Tyler Hero had it all working today, but then he would go from that to, like, fancy footwork, reverse layup. He had it all working, boy wonder, today. It was really, really, really great to see. So your top three guys, the thing that I think is the most encouraging about this victory is, all three of them just had their moments in this game. And for what was just a clogged toilet of offense for whatever the stretch was, and these guys kind of all staring at each other like the Spider-Man meme, it does feel like they've all found their moments now. They've all found their comfort, and they are all playing with a confidence that they really, really are enjoying one another. So big-time win for the Heat tonight to keep things rolling. They get themselves to 28-24 on the season. Now they get a bunch of days off before the Celtics come into town on Super Bowl Sunday. Tremendous win. Lots of fun. Jimmy Butler, hilarious and also awesome. Tyler Hero playing with confidence. Bam aggressive. And they took it all home for everybody. It was also good to see, by the way, Jaime Jaquez Jr., I thought, found himself a little bit today. He got some nice, easy looks. Jimmy was setting him up for some stuff, but, he finishes with 10 points today in 28 minutes. But it just felt like Jaime could just relax. He looked more like himself. So this is one of those games where, you had a Spurs team that, kept it competitive probably a little bit longer than they should have. But, I think it was still good to see Miami execute things in the right way. It didn't feel like they were forcing. It didn't feel like they were playing an ugly game. That second half, looks were good. They just weren't hitting shots. It was an ugly-ass second quarter that you kind of just had to suffer through. But it was all worth it in the end. But the bums won't talk about it.